So we're here today at Allerthorpe, setting up ready for the triathlon tomorrow, and we're joined by someone who's spent a lot of time at Allerthorpe recently, Ed Bowen. Ed, how's it going?
It's going very well. It just seems to be deja vu being back here now, having spent the last 10 days here doing the Deca.
Amazing. So what is a Deca to anyone out there who doesn't know what it is?
I'm sure pretty much everybody that I've ever spoken to knows what a Deca is now, because I never seem to shut up about it the last 2 years. But certainly for the uninitiated, the Deca is an ultra endurance triathlon. So you have the Ironman level, which is the sort of pinnacle of us triathletes, and then you have the crazy level, which goes beyond that. So as we know, an Ironman is a 2.4 mile swim, 112 mile bike, and a 26.2 marathon. The Deca is 10 times that over 10 days. So the Deca that I did was 10 Ironmans over 10 days. So every day for 10 days, I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning, did a 2.4 mile swim, 118 mile bike ride, because they sneakily added 6 miles on. So it was a 118 mile bike ride, and then a 26.2 marathon every day for 10 days, which give us a total of 24 miles swam, 1,180 miles on the bike, and 262 mile run.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
So your Strava stats for the week were pretty good.
Well, crazy, yes. I seem to remember I joined Marauder just for the fun of it for the week, just to add the Strava numbers just for giggles.
Yeah. Perfect. Well, I got your winning pair of socks from that week in the car. So.
Okay.
Amazing. So in terms of the preparation for the Deca, how long is the training? Do you even start training, or is it just something you just have to do constantly to get up to that level?
So with the training, this was initially it was a 2-year project, but because of COVID, Deca was delayed till 2022. So in 2019, my wife and I started fundraising for the local cancer ward at Castle Hill in Hull. I was already a quite seasoned Ironman at that point, and it just seemed good to be able to give back something to the local charities and stuff. As irony would have it, during 2019, when I was doing multiple Ironmans back to back, week in, week out, so every weekend became sort of an Ironman type thing. My dad sadly was diagnosed with lung cancer, so the irony was then that it became like a personal charity thing. So in terms of training wise, a 2-year project became a 3-year project with the COVID sort of intervention. Initially, normal Ironman hours, 8-9 hours a week would cut it, but that was kind of the precursor in sort of year 1. If I jump forward to sort of 2022 and some sort of January onwards, my training days were literally 7-8 hours per day, 6 days a week. Which is a massive, massive commitment. I can't even begin to describe the monotony of what that was. But when you are dancing with the devil, such as Deca, you need to be fully prepared to go the distance.
Yeah, and that takes a certain mindset to just keep
Absolutely.
going when it's raining, when it's hailing.
Yeah, no matter the weather, you've literally got to drag your sorry self out. As much as you want to sit and watch whatever's on TV or do this or your friends are doing that, you've literally just got to put that aside. Literally, I mean, for 2022, my life has been on hold. Everything from work commitments as a PT, family life, everything has just been focused on the Deca this year to get there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was it like actually doing the Deca? Did it feel just
horrific? What was it like? The Deca was everything I thought it was going to be and so much more. So in terms of the first day that we arrived, was the first race day, was Tuesday the 19th, which we know was technically the hottest day in existence according to the weather forecasters, and boy did we feel that. Every breath that we took in on the bike and the run, you was literally breathing in hot air. It was horrific. I remember getting into the water, actually, funny enough, on the first day and looking around me and the usual nervous faces and people sort of geared up, and and I watched in astonishment as everybody went off like it was an Olympic qualifier. And I literally stopped and thought, am I in the right race? This is a 10-day race. Why is everybody going off so hard and fast as they did? Anyhow, 2 days later, we had the first dropouts, which were the people that were going in hard. So in terms of what the Deca was like, it was brutal. We had the heat. We did have a little bit of rain towards the end. For me personally, the strategy-wise, was to pace myself to a 15-16 hour Ironman per day, and for the first few days that went quite well. You might want to put the warning graphic bits on here. So from day 5 we noticed that the stomach cramps were starting to hit home. Now when you do endurance sport, we know you expect to a certain degree that the body does shut down and fight or flight response and kicks on, but what happened from day 5 seemed to be taking its toll. I will spare your viewers and what have you the gory details, but if you imagine Paula Radcliffe, that's the kind of thing we're talking about. Yep. But from my crew's point of view, things were getting a bit serious from day 5, because when you are burning sort of 9,000 calories per day, you've got to get 8,000, 9,000 calories per day back in you, but unfortunately that wasn't happening because of the gastric issues. So by day 8, 9, the wheels were well and truly coming off. So my bike splits, my run splits were slowing right down because fatigue was setting in so much, because I just didn't have the energy towards the end. But we made a promise, myself and the 6 remaining of the 11 competitors, that we weren't going to let this beat us. We were going to stand together, and we did. And by hell or high water, I crossed that finish line. And for me personally, the adversity that was thrown at me from day 5 made this victory finish all the more sweeter. Yeah.
Well, it's mind blowing to put into perspective, actually, like, because I've done a few ultra events, but nothing anywhere near that scale. So
I mean, still for me personally, trying to grasp what I've achieved, it just hasn't quite sunk in.
Yeah.
And I will never ever tire, I don't think, of sitting down and talking about it.
Can you see yourself doing another one?
Another Deca?
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I made a promise to the wife that certainly another Deca would be out the question, although I am getting a couple of friends message me saying, you ought to look at this, you ought to look at that, and so far I've managed to avoid it. What's next for me from here? I'm going to take some time out and just let the body recover. Nothing's off the table at this point, whether I continue to just do the odd Ironman 1 or 2 a year, or drop down a division to 70.3, or even just take some time out, and just whatever. As I said, I just need to take some time out and let the body recover at the moment.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a pretty wise.
Very wise.
Yeah. We do have a 70.3 in September. If,
right, okay.
Yeah, if you fancy it.
No. I think my toes more than anything probably would say no at the moment.
Yeah, that's understandable. So if we dial it way back before you started doing Ironmans, what was it that kind of got you into, rather than just doing like your average sprint or Olympic triathlon, what was it that made you want to keep going further, keep pushing the boundaries and go ultra distance?
I've always been one to push myself, and I've always liked to grab a challenge. So whenever there's a challenge to be had, I like to tackle it head on. So going back all those years ago, doing sprints, and then you recognise there's an Olympic distance after that, although you don't see much Olympics. Granted, you've got one, I believe, tomorrow, but you don't see as many as you do now. But back then, the Olympic distance was the next step up, and then after that, it was kind of doing, half iron, which I've thoroughly enjoyed. We've always one eye to doing an Ironman. But then it became like do a couple of halves, within a month, and from there it grew to then doing like the first Ironman, and then from the first Ironman it became, doing a couple of Ironmans, so from Sunday to Sunday, back to back. An Everesting got thrown in there. That was an amazing challenge. I think we spent a long time. Sorry, I'm looking to the right. We spent a long time working that Everesting out, and that was a challenge and a half. But again, it all sets me up in good stead moving forward with, as I said, one eye onto the Deca when we decided that was going to be the pinnacle of where we went with the fundraising and what have you.
Fair.
Yeah.
Might have to cut that bit out. Oh. Well, amazing. Yeah. Hell of a story.
Very, yeah.
Yeah.
People say I ought to write an autobiography. Maybe one day I will.
Yeah, definitely. So we've obviously covered your experience of the Deca.
Yeah.
What goes into the sport of it? Is it like, obviously it's not just yourself going around constantly, endlessly. Who is in your support team? How do they do it, etc.?
So first of all, a big acknowledgement to my support crew on the day, which was Sally, John, Susie. Without them, without category, I would not have been able to have completed the Deca. Because it is very much a team event. The focus is on the athlete, which is understandable because that's all people see from that point of view. But what they don't see is the hard work that goes in behind the scenes from your crew. So everything from getting my breakfast ready, my meals on the bike ready, washing my kit, just popping my blisters, patching me up with zinc oxide, everything goes into it. And to the point where, by sort of day 3, you become very much childlike, where you can't sort of dress yourself, you can't do anything really other than just put one foot in front of the other. So it's very much a crude event. And I would advise anybody that is considering this to pick their crew wisely and strongly, somebody at the very least that has a bit of experience of ultra events, not just triathlon, because one thing that I found initially with the crew was with regards to, it cannot be treated as a one-day event whereby you're relying on gels or hydration energy drinks, because you need solid food with ultra events. So as the days come by, you are eating, pretty much anything you can get your hand on, or in my case, trying to keep anything down or in. So yeah, for anybody thinking of doing a Deca, a crew is an essential thing, absolutely, whereby you need somebody to do your washing, prepping your kit for the next day, being on hand. And it was the little things, like not being able to put my shoes on by myself. A leg would appear out of nowhere for me to rest on, and it's little things like that. Patching me up on the night with Germaline, before I go to sleep. It's just things like that just make all the difference.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a one-man band.
Absolutely not. You need a good, solid crew through it. Yeah.
Amazing. So just to kind of wrap up, if people wanted to follow your story, obviously you've still got to write the autobiography, but whereabouts can they follow you for any?
Yeah, there is a blog page that we started up initially. Hasn't been updated with the final part of Deca yet, but that will be, so watch this space. It's called Just One Foot in Front of the Other. It's on the usual social media, Facebook and what have you. I'm available on Instagram and all the usual things. I'm happily to talk about it. I will literally talk anybody's ear off about it. It's not a problem. But yeah, they can find me on there and have a read. Yeah.
Amazing. Wicked. Well, we'll post all that in the description as well, but congratulations on one hell of an achievement.
Thank you very much. Much appreciated, guys. Appreciate it.